Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. We kick off a new week with another new edition of Money Monday. For many of us, retirement is full of questions. The questions usually center around savings, taxes, and Social Security. Our focus today is a newly enhanced federal legislation that aims to improve your retirement security. It's called the Secure Act. To learn more about the Secure Act and how it relates to your retirement, we've called on our Money Monday expert and certified financial planner, Christine Moriarty. Christine is the president of Money Peace in Bristol, and she joins us each month to address specific money-related topics. Thank you so much for coming in.
I'm glad to be here, Fran.
And helping us tackle these complicated topics.
Oh my gosh, and at the 9th hour.
Right, exactly. This is a very new act, and it's affecting us very quickly.
Absolutely. They passed it on December 19th.
Right.
And it went into effect January 1st.
And very bipartisan. But, so tell us what the Secure Act is.
The Secure Act stands for, as you'll see on the screen, setting up every community up for retirement enhancement. So it covers many aspects of retirement and tries to give people more options to save for retirement.
Right. So great. So how does that affect an average individual?
Well, two ways. I know it's focused on retirement, but it also affects 529 plans and other corporate plans. But let's just talk about how it affects your retirement. Right now, the average person, it affects how you can save, how you can withdraw the money, and where you can invest.
Okay, so let's talk about the retirement plans first. Okay. What do people need to know?
People need to know that they can now save, even if they're over 70 and a half, in traditional IRA plans if they are working.
Okay, so they can continue to put money away, which
absolutely,
which was stopped at 70 and a half. You couldn't contribute,
Bingo.
But now you can if you're working.
If you're working.
Okay.
So you need earned income. So that's a big one for people to know.
Right, that is, because a lot of people are working beyond
right.
70.
Right.
So that's great. Other things that people need to know?
They also know that as far as withdrawing, you can still, at age 70 and a half, here's a little loophole in there, you could always take money from your IRA, and rather than pull it out as taxable income, you could give it directly to a charity. And any amount you wanted.
Right.
And it wouldn't be counted as income. And that was a bonus for people 70 and a half or older. You can still do that if you're 70 and a half.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a withdrawal thing.
Right. And that's still operational.
That's still operational. But then we have some operational changes to what's called the RMD.
Okay.
Okay.
Which is your minimum that you can withdraw.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. So the required minimum distribution begin now at age 72. None of this half business. As long as individuals turn 70 and a half after December 31st, 2019. So if you were 70 and a half before December,
right,
this past December, you have to follow the old rules.
The old rules. But if you were, well, I hope I get my math right, so don't, but I think if you were born July 1949, between then and July 1950.
Well, anytime after.
Anytime after.
After, because July 1950 and after, that's when it affects you.
Right.
However, this is really important. Talk to your personal investment person or accountant.
Right.
Because investment companies only had 11 days to respond to this. So you might get a letter saying you need to take an RMD for 2020 when you don't because of that change. They had these letters coming out automatically for 2020, and you might fall by the new rules but not know it unless you
double check.
Double check about your personal situation. And if you have been taking an RMD over the years, keep doing it.
Keep doing it.
You have to follow that, no matter what your age.
Okay, so anything else we need to know about affecting retirement savings?
Yes, there's now some new options as well to what you can invest in, and that includes annuities and other types of investing. Also, one thing, and I'm going to work it in here, is if you're working part-time in a company, you may be able to contribute to their retirement plan even if you're part-time. So lots of changes in this, which is why we're hitting the highlights about the magic numbers. My message is check on your personal situation.
Okay. So even if, but that's a new one too. If you're working part-time, you might be able to contribute, which you weren't able to do before.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's another big one. So what happens if one does not take the required minimum distribution?
You get taxed up until 50% of what that withdrawal was. This is an IRS national tax rule, so be sure you get this right.
So you need to take that distribution. You need to take that money out, or you kind of get slammed.
That's why it's called required.
Okay, that's why it's called required. Okay, great. So does the Secure Act change anything about being a beneficiary or getting inheritance?
That's where the huge one is. And I was actually in a meeting with about 20 financial planners last month because we were all trying to figure out how is this, we're going to work with it. Historically, if you inherited an IRA from your aunt, you could take it, stretch the word. It's legal term or financial term, but you can stretch it over your lifetime and take that withdrawal. At this point, because of this law, you need to take it over 10 years. And again, if it's for anyone who passed away January 1st or after, you have to take it over 10 years, which might mean bigger tax issues for you. However, if it's a spouse, you can take it, stretch it over your lifetime.
So there are exceptions. So if it's a spouse, you can stretch again. But otherwise, whatever that lump sum is, it's divided by 10, and you have to take it out.
There's a couple other exceptions that I don't want to dwell on, but people again need to know, get information on. One is if your child is under 18 and they inherit an IRA, they have increased options, so it isn't over 10 years for them. And if someone is disabled, they want to be able to serve them, so that is more by the old rules of stretch.
Okay, so there are some exceptions, but basically if you inherit an IRA, you have to spend it. I mean, you have to withdraw
it. Don't spend it
Don't spend it necessarily. But you have to withdraw it over a 10-year period for most people.
Right.
Except
and then
for
you
spouses
can put it in
and
your
other
own
exceptions.
IRA and you can save it and invest it for retirement, but the government's looking for their taxes again.
Okay. And based on your experience, will this have a big impact? Is this really different?
Yes and no, because ironically, that might be the wrong word, only 2% of the people who had inherited IRAs were taking this as a stretch.
Oh, so not many people use that option anyway.
They thought that anyway. However, it is a planning tool that might mean you're taxed more than you would have had to.
Okay. And you also indicated at the start of the program that the Secure Act also impacts college savings plans known as 529. So why don't you explain what a 529 is?
A 529 plan, again, it's because of that rule. It's based in the IRS tax law, code 529. It is for retirement plan, not retirement plans, excuse me, college plans only. So college plans, savings
for kids.
For kids that keeps it tax-free, similar to an IRA. That's why they tied in these changes.
Okay. So in what way does the 529 plan change?
One big advantage is that you can take $10,000 out of a 529 plan. Usually it's only for college or you're going to be taxed. You can use $10,000 from a 529 plan that will go directly towards a student loan.
Okay.
So think about that. If you can pay a student loan directly with that, that will help your child.
Yeah, right. So the debt thing, it helps the debt thing.
Right.
And does Vermont allow a loan payoff?
That is a great question. I don't know at this time because I haven't seen the legislation. But before you do it, check with the latest law is what's happened, because there's some other provisions that the 529 plans made changes to over the years. Federal government allows it, but if you did that, you'd be taxed in Vermont. So New Hampshire and New York, it might follow federal law. but
Right.
we need to check in Vermont.
Okay, so it's a lot of keep checking because this is very new,
It's
basically.
very complicated,
Right.
and that's what I think people don't know. They talk to a friend, they talk to a family. Oh, I'll just do what they did, and I'm like,
Do you think this Secure Act makes us more secure?
In some ways, you have more options, and in some ways, they've given us options that we didn't need.
Yeah.
So it depends.
Okay, so it's important to get a good, trusted advisor. So, and you did a show on this earlier.
Right.
Might be something people might want to look into.
Absolutely. Look at another Money Monday, but the people who know about tax laws would be the accountants and the financial planners.
Those would be the people to really
so
check
make
in
sure
on.
You talk to them. It's worth the investment before
Right.
getting taxed unnecessarily.
Right. And I also read that the Secure Act is trying to make it easier for small businesses to also get retirement plans and offer them, as well as this kind of possible retirement plans for part-timers.
Right. So this is great. So part-timers can now give, and also there's some discounts of small business owners coming together in a kind of consortium to build a 401k or retirement plan. And that can save them a lot of money because we don't see it as employees, but there are hidden costs and fees to building these plans.
Right, sure. So you can maybe talk to other people in your community, and
if you're a business owner,
if you're a business owner, what are the other business owners doing?
Right.
You can work together and make something happen for your
Right.
employees.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, everybody should check in with professionals about the Secure Act. This is a complicated, but hopefully will be helpful to people.
Great. Thanks for having me on, because this is an important public message we're getting out.
Okay, fantastic. And if you have other money-related questions that you'd like Christine to address in future Money Mondays, you can contact her by calling 802-453-5913 or by visiting her website, moneypiece.com. Thank you so much, Christine Moriarty, for joining us today.
Thank you, Fran.
And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard.